All right. It is 11:30. So we are going to go ahead and start our 11:30 seminar, which is launching in today's market. So that was Jane. She did awesome. I've known Jane since, gosh, for a long time. She used to have a store in Chicago back in the mid 2000s when I started my company in Chicago and lived in Chicago. So Jane's just like a really great resource. So today in my course, we're going to be talking a little bit about, your social media message and marketing, things like that. But I'm going to try not to repeat anything that Jane did too much and focus more on production and just mindset of an entrepreneur in today's market. So how are you guys doing? We're so excited to be hosting this. We got some really great panelists and people to provide content. So we're all really, really excited. And just seeing Jane's presentation alone, we're really happy that you guys are all here. All right, so I'm going to switch us over to you're welcome for, I can get you guys' chats, obviously. So you're welcome for putting today the virtual session. The whole thing happened originally, because like anyone else, we're having to pivot our business as well. We were set to do trade shows. We had one in Dallas. There's one in New York. There's one in Miami. So all of these trade shows where I would normally be presenting these panels and seminars, all are canceled. So we put together the idea of well, let's just go ahead and do it virtually. And in all honesty, it's easier because you guys don't have to travel. We can reach anyone across the country. We can record them, send them later. So it's almost better. I mean, I love seeing you guys face to face and being at the trade shows and getting to travel, but I'm kind of liking this virtual world too. I am coming to you live from my bedroom in Vermont. So we left the city in March and are in Vermont. I'm normally in New York. So it's been really, really great. And I'm really grateful that we have the ability to do this and the technology nowadays to be able to still communicate and stay connected to, our friends, our customers, our audience. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start our presentation for launching in today's market. All right, so launching in today's market. So this is me. Oops, sorry, let me just go back. It seems to be having a mind of its own. All right, so about Vmora, if you guys don't already know, we are a company that helps launch fashion designers. So we help with patterns and samples and marketing. We also do manage production. We've got a lot of partners that do manufacturing, and we also help with branding, social media, photo shoots. So basically anything that you're going to need, mostly for new designers. If you're starting, what I like to do is do a one-on-one coaching. So within that coaching, we put together your budget, we put together your costing template, we make sure that your timeline and your planning's all realistic so that once you hit the ground running, you'll be successful in doing so. So that's a little bit about me and Vmora. Okay. All right, so to review your message. So the first thing you want to do is, make sure that, like Jane said, you have the social responsibility to be putting yourself out there, to be talking to your audience. And as leaders, we have the ability to talk to a larger audience. So spreading joy. There's a big movement. I love the happy news movement, if you guys have been following that at all. So that is this kind of counter to all of the news and all of the things that are stressing people out, and trying to get people to be pulled away from this negative message of fear and stepping more into a message of this happy news of great things that are going on. And yes, we can still pay attention to what's going on and the news and be informed, but not let ourselves go to fear, and to be spreading a message of joy. I have an example. One of my clients does wedding dresses, and in this move, or in this new kind of pivot, she has the ability to promote her wedding dresses because people are still getting married. People are, it might be in their backyard, it might be through social distancing, but there's still that bride out there that wants this permission to be looking at her wedding dress, that wants permission to look to the future and to have something to be excited about. So by her posting dresses and by posting these things, it's giving these people permission of saying, like, it's okay to be thinking about your wedding day. It's okay to be thinking about the outfits that you're going to want to wear once the social distancing and the lockdown is lifted. Like, it is okay. I also have another client who does jackets and streetwear, and we've started the hashtag, the dog walk is the new catwalk, because everyone's walking their dogs like 20 times a day because that's their only way to get outside. So finding something in your message that's going to spread joy and something that's going to make people smile, because people are looking for that right now. So giving yourself permission to continue posting and to continue being relevant on Instagram, Facebook, sending mailers, and making the decision that you're going to spread joy and that you're going to bring something like even this picture here of this dog all dressed up in this lacy floral garment, I think is so cute, So just anything that's going to make people smile. So pivoting your immediate business plans, strategically structuring your business plan. So when this lockdown happened, we were immediately having to pivot of like, okay, well, what pattern makers are working from home and what sewers have the capabilities of working from home. Like I said, I'm in Vermont, so I immediately went out and posted messages, and I found some really talented seamstresses that are working from home that are really, really grateful to have the work and are willing to take the samples that we are going to have made in New York City. So taking this as a place and a time to improve. I read the book, The Obstacle is the Way, and it's all just about this, about being a business owner. Having obstacles is part of being a business owner. And being able to take those obstacles and figure out a solution is only going to make you a stronger business owner. It's going to make you stronger coming out of this. I can't tell you, when I first started my company, I was like, okay, everything's perfect. My staff is great. My clients are great. Like, I don't want anything to change. I want it to stay just like this. And every single time I thought that, something would happen. And something would change. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, let's figure out a solution. And then when I get through this issue, I won't have any more issues ever again, and everything will stay the same. And that's just not the reality of being a business owner. Once you can navigate that, being a business owner is having to deal with obstacles and making decisions and moving through things. Like, we can't freeze when things get hard. We have to become stronger. And in today's market, this is an opportunity for you to become stronger. After we make it through COVID, any issue that comes up, if you have someone that quits or a client that gets addressed that's unhappy, like, you're going to have issues, but after COVID, there's not going to be anything as detrimental and as huge to have to deal with. So it's just going to make you stronger moving forward. So using innovation to redline your sales plan, there's things that you'll want to avoid, sales strategies you want to put together. But I feel in a general rule of thumb, like avoiding this kind of fearful voice or this kind of negative news, being able to choose what you want to say to your audience. and put together your new sales strategy. Some of my clients, some that are on here, we had to change their launch strategy. And originally we were going to do a big launch with a factory and do, 250 units, but instead we're doing micro launches where they're doing 30 units, or they're opening up the sales window for pre-sales. So being able to figure out what your sales strategy is going to look like and if it has to change. And just to share some success stories, people are launching and selling out and going through this successfully. There are still a lot of people that are shopping. So you want to be sure that, sorry, I'm trying to, the chat is a little bit. So yeah, there are lots of people that are successfully launching. And if you'll also want to pay attention, because that's inspiring to you. If you see a new designer that's launched and then 3 days later, they're like, my dress sold out. That also inspires you for your launch to see if they can do it, I can do it. So just being around other successful designers, following them on Instagram, doing all of that, that's important. Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate the chat so I can see you guys chat. Okay, so adapting your business models. So planning and preparation, you want to be realistic. Things might take longer. Like I said, we're working with some local seamstresses here in Vermont, and they don't have 50 sewers working on a line. So it might take longer for you to get a smaller production made, but you can still launch. There's still figure things out. When you hit a roadblock, you want to have plan A, plan B, plan C. If plan A doesn't work, you can pivot to plan B, just making sure that you continue to move forward and you continue to find ways to successfully launch. Some new ways of doing business. Like I said, there might have to be a smaller micro launch, or maybe you have your inventory coming and you've got to figure out a new sales plan of how to get that inventory in your customers' hands. So just staying inspired, absolutely staying inspired, moving forward, continuing to launch. As an entrepreneur in challenging times, we signed up to be leaders. We signed up to be in front of other people, to have an audience. And there's a responsibility as an entrepreneur, as a leader, to be that person successfully launching. You know how I said follow the people on Instagram or follow the brands that are launching and then selling out? You get to be that person for other designers too. So by giving yourself the permission to launch and to still sell on Instagram or on Facebook or on your website, still doing this launch, doing virtual launch parties, doing a virtual pop-up shop, you are giving other entrepreneurs and other designers permission to do that as well. So being a leader and living through example is really important. And I think all of us started a company because we wanted that. We wanted to be in front of other people. We wanted to have an audience. We want to sell the designs, the creativity that you've been born with, and share that with the world. So now more than ever, people need to hear that. They need to see that. Making connections with your community, staying present. The worst thing I feel like we can do right now is just completely hide. If COVID and the lockdown had made me freeze, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be sharing this information with you guys. I wouldn't have figured out a way to still do these seminars without there being trade shows and being able to pull Jane in and all the amazing panelists that we have. So being able to continue to move forward, I'm then now being able to provide you guys all with this content. So staying connected with your community, with other designers, with other business owners, with other moms, whoever that is super important. And I've seen a huge shift in in the fashion industry specifically, of everyone's working together. The factories, I have connected more factories to more people trying to buy and make masks, and everybody is having this conversation of like, how can we help? How can we help everyone get through this? What can we do? Sarah Blakely, who I love, put together a grant program so that you can go and get, I think it's $5,000, apply for a grant with her company. She's the one that started Spanx. If you're not familiar, she's amazing. So there's all these people willing to help, and all of this community that's been going on now more than ever. So just getting involved in that will make a huge difference in your day-to-day life. So right now too, creating digital and virtual opportunities. So taking this opportunity to create content. Yes, it's more difficult to do a full-on photo shoot, but like Jane was saying, use your iPhone, get some photos, go to your backyard, send out your dresses to influencers, and they can take their own pictures with the cell phone. So just, now I don't want to say lowering the bar, but creating content with what we have right now, with what we have available. And, you know, everyone has more time on their hands. So we should be able to create a ton of content. And writing blogs. You can write blogs for an hour every day and have blogs ready to go for when you launch. So just scheduling out your time, and I talk about that a little bit later in this presentation. So we'll go there later, but preparing for a market shift. So like I said, with managing your samples and production, with the lockdown, a lot of the factories are closed. So you might have to look into local seamstresses, look into offshore options, find factories that are able to work with social distancing. There are factories open, and just to know that there is a solution. And I know it personally because we've found the solutions for our clients to be able to continue moving through sampling and production. And if there hasn't been, there's, you know, if the factory is shut down and we've had to wait until we can start the production, which has happened with one of our clients, we're helping with, you know, writing blogs and social media and prepping for launch and working on the website. So there's so many other things that you can do now while we have this pause, if you're unable to find a solution for your sample and your production right now. All right, so these are some steps that I want you guys to walk away with, and I know that Jane has also given you some steps, and she told you to do it today. So these ones are pretty easy though. Okay. How do you do a virtual pop-up? This question can wait until the end. Yeah, I can go ahead. I have time, so we'll just take questions as we go. So a virtual pop-up. What you can do is, there's quite a few different ways. If you wanted to have a window where, let's say for 5 hours, you're live and you send your dresses to some potential customers. So you can say, hey, I've got a line of 12 dresses. I'm gonna do a virtual pop-up from 12 till 5. You can send them the dresses, they can try them on, you can do one-on-one consultation, you can have everyone in the room trying on dresses and everyone, you know, spending this time together, or you can do one-on-one consultations with people saying, I'm gonna send, say you send them 3 dresses, you can let them choose and maybe you send them one you think they'll like. You can say, you know, for this, you know, I'll hold your credit card for any of the pieces that I don't get back, you'll be charged 3 days after. Or, you know, if they ship it back, then they're not charged. But having some sort of event where you're holding these one-on-one Zoom consultations with them, or you've just got a group of 20 girlfriends that all have some of the dresses in their hands, they can try them on, things like that. So yeah, having a virtual, you just want to have a window, right? Say like from 12 to 5, we're going to have this, and maybe you create some content or have some games to play, but it's basically like just exactly how a pop-up shop would be at a store, only everyone's in front of their computer. So anything that you can do in person, you just try to do virtually. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay, so some steps that I want you guys to do. Okay, you're welcome. Some steps I'd like you guys to do is, number one is pick one thing to do for yourself today. I know today we're on the seminar, so that counts as something that you've done for yourself. But it's so, so important. I'm a huge advocate of, I need to take care of myself so I can take care of my business. And what that looks like for me is, if I'm not getting enough sleep, if I'm not creating time to go to the gym, if I'm not eating healthy, I'm just at like a lower agitation level, you know, so I'm not able to make decisions as clearly. I'm not able to be a leader for my staff. So I have to be sure that self-care is number one. And that goes for, you know, moms. In order to take care of your child, you've got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So it's just making sure that I'm showing up in the best possible way so that I can take care of my business. So what I'd like for you guys to do is to do one thing to take care of yourself. That could be a face mask. That could be a walk alone. Maybe your husband can watch the kids. That could be a bubble bath. That could be treating yourself to chocolate cake, you know, just something that makes you feel good and that is going to be a little celebration for yourself. Number two is to reach out to one person a day. So this I put together because a lot of my friends are isolated alone in their apartments, and that's tough. So put a list together of people that make you smile, people that make you laugh, people that you enjoy talking to, and have this list. And then once a day, reach out to somebody. Pick up the phone and reach out to somebody that can help brighten your day. And vice versa, you can help brighten their day as well. So communication and talking on the phone, because for me, it's so easy to isolate, you know, and just like work all day, you know, read a book, watch TV, and just not talk to people. I don't know if anyone else is this kind of like, I'm sort of introverted where like I don't mind the isolation, and then I think all of a sudden it's been so long, I need to be reaching out to people. So reach out to one person a day. Number three is to join an online event. You guys already have that one done. So you guys are here today for our Google Hangout. Make a schedule. So this one is where I was talking about the schedule of figuring out when you're going to work on what. Because for me, when I have an office to go to and things are structured and I have a lunch break and I have all of this, it's very easy for everything to fall in line. It's when I have this like kind of idled free time where all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what am I doing? And it's easy to do nothing, even though I have more time. So creating the schedule for yourself as well. And and I broke out the things that are important as a business owner. So if you schedule your time based around these 6 things, you'll get everything done. So one is money. So when are you gonna track your finances or balance your checkbook or work in QuickBooks or do your budgeting? Is that going to be Fridays from 3 to 5 at the end of the week? Or do you want to get that over with in the beginning of the week? Does that only need to be happening every other week? So figuring out when you're going to deal with any of your finances. And then your virtual presence. So that would be social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Are you going to do that 20 minutes every day? Are you going to do that once a week and pre-schedule everything? And content. So when are you going to create content, do photo shoots, look for some stock photos? I want you guys to have a backup log of what you're going to post on Instagram for possibly the next month. So when are you going to work on that? Is it going to be Wednesdays from 2 to 5? And then creation. As designers, you've got to stay creative. So being able to look for new designs or put together mood boards or spend some time on Instagram on other brands that help get your creative juices flowing. But when are you going to set aside the time for creation? Is that going to be early in the mornings, or do you feel more creative at night? Production is another one. So dealing with pattern makers, sample makers, your manufacturers, even if you don't have any of that, spending time aligning that, talking to pattern makers. Is that going to be every day? Or, you know, if you're in the middle of a production right now, it'll probably have to be from 2 hours every day of managing your production, but you want to have time to put your production together. And then sales. So when are you going to focus on selling? And that can be reaching out to your customers. That can be getting customer feedback. That can be just, you know, anything having to do with your customers and staying present with them. And then if you are actually selling, when are you, if you're doing your own fulfillment, maybe you ship out everything on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then collect orders in between, and then do customer follow-up on the next week for those customers that received your orders. So just scheduling your time and making things very easy for yourself. So if you have all of this set out, then everything will move forward. And making to-do lists. I'm a big person on to-do lists. Pick 6 things every day to do, no more. And they're the most important 6 things to do. How do we find designers who've launched successfully to follow? Yeah, that would just be spending some time on Instagram and seeing who has launched a collection in spring. Spending some time, like Vmora, we always do a client highlight that will show our clients that are launching. So yeah, it's easy to find designers who have launched successfully just through Instagram. See who's sold out, see who's launched their spring collection. Okay. So for your social responsibility as leaders, I want you to work on your branding story. So what is your story? Why are you launching? How did this COVID affect you? And how did it make you switch your sales strategy or your production? Did you find sewers that are working from home that were able to, you know, still pay their rent because you brought them directly work to their house or shipped them work? So what is your story? I want you to spend some time on that. And then number 6 is reevaluating your social media plans. So you want to create content. Like Jane said, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're waiting for everything to be perfect, it's way better to post. It's I always say this wrong, quantity over quality when it comes to social media. You know, if you post twice a month and it's perfect because it's done by a professional photographer and you thought about the copy you're going to write for 2 weeks and you have the perfect hashtags, the person that's posting every day, the non-perfect posts, people are going to know about that person over your 2 perfect posts that you've posted. So staying present with brand awareness, what's your message, always engaging. So liking other people's photos, sending messages, doing direct messages, and address what you've implemented to your audience. So whatever has have to shift, just, you know, be open and talk to your audience about that. Just the way I'm talking to you about, like, this is why I planned an online seminar, was because these trade shows didn't work. So opening that up to your audience and being honest and authentic. And then, yeah, putting together your Instagram plan. How often are you going to post? What are you going to post? Linking it to your Facebook, but just reevaluate your social media plans. And number 7 is communicating with your customer, creating ideal partners. So is that maybe you do bags and there's someone that has really great jackets that you can partner with and share audiences? What are your blog ideas? Are you sending your mailing list? How are you creating your mailing list? Making sure on your website that you have a sign up for your website. Creating some sort of IFO, which is irresistible free offer, of people who will then want to sign up on your mailing list. And like Jane was saying, that can be a quiz, or that can be top 10 travel items, you know, all those things that she talked about. So making your mailing list grow through offering something if they sign up for your mailing list. Some ideas to get involved with your audience. You can do a voting poll, sales, promotions. There's a lot of sales going on right now. You can do a Q&A on your Instagram stories, or you can host a live Instagram event. People really want to see the designer. They want to know where they're spending their money. They want to know who you are. So really just opening yourself up to them so that they know who you are. And yes, voting polls, Q&As, live Instagram events, those are all really great ways to stay in front of your customer. These are some Instagram tools that you can look into. So they're platforms that will help you pre-post on Instagram. They'll help you navigate so that you're not having to post new post every single day. So we just give you a list of these for editing photos, things like that. So take a look at these and decide if you're going to use any of them. Maybe you guys are already using some sort of Instagram tool, but every time I talk about Instagram tools, people ask me which ones I can recommend. So these are just those for you guys to take a look at. All right, so that is today's seminar. And then I wanted to open it up for Q&A. So do you guys have questions on launching, or has anyone, I know we've got some people on the call that are launching this weekend. So does anyone want to share any stories or have any questions specifically about their launch? I know we talked about virtual pop-up shops. Can you give ideas on how to connect with your community? So like I said, you can do a poll. You can do a survey, like Jane had said. You can do your email blasts. You can do an Instagram live event. You can simply just go to other people's Instagram pages and start commenting on their photos. You can send direct messages. So there's no right or wrong way to be connecting with your community. It's just always trying to connect and figuring out how your community answers you. So you can figure out what's the best platform for you. Like with Reevaluating, we've had a really great response for this seminar, and we've got our mailing list, and that works for us too, because we always provide content that's valuable to our customers. On Instagram itself, I would say I think that's like the least strongest way that we communicate with our community. It's more through our mailing list and through the live events. Well, it was through trade shows, but since that's not happening, this is what we're doing instead, and we've gotten a great response. So you've got to figure out what works for your brand, and that just means like trying everything and seeing where you get the largest response. I have been very surprised at the willingness of friends and strangers to help for free for a dress with our launch, modeling, taking pics, sharing on social media. Yeah, so there's nothing, people want to help, and especially, like I said, in this environment, I've seen more people trying to help than ever. Small businesses are all trying to stay alive. So if you're a small business and other people see that, they want to help. And if you have a great product, which I know Allison does, then they get a free dress, and that's amazing. So being able to provide these beautiful dresses or your content, like you can do an exchange for, if you're working with an influencer and you do an exchange for a post for a dress, just be sure that the terms are clear. So prior to sending them the dress, if you are giving them the dress, let them know, yes, I'll be giving you this dress, and in exchange, I would love to see, 2 stories on this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 1 picture in your news feed. So just, even though there's not money being exchanged, you want to be sure that you're very, very clear on terms prior to just giving dresses away and hoping that they post. What grad school will be done in 1 year? It looks like that question cut off. Yeah, so Allison is saying even other brands, contests, collaborations. So again, other brands are, everybody is working together and they want people to survive. I've worked with people and other companies that do the exact same thing that I do in trying to find factories to get masks produced. So we're all working together. We all want each other to survive through this. So it doesn't hurt to ask, number one, and then number two, to make sure that you are that person that's willing to help other designers as well. We haven't gotten big bumps in followers from influencers post. So I have asked one of them to do an Instagram live trunk show with me this weekend. That's amazing. So yeah, doing a live trunks show, she says QVC style, which is awesome. So it's just staying creative, hustling, figuring out whatever's going to work. How can you get in front of the audience? What events can you plan? What can you do? You know, I've done a bunch of Instagram lives. I've done this seminar. So it's just like figuring out ways to stay in front of your customers and provide them with these beautiful dresses or, you know, baby clothes or whatever it is you're offering. There are people there that will love it and that will be so happy to get that dress in the mail. I know every time I get a package in the mail, I get super excited and I'm happy to open it. So you guys get to share that with your customers as well. I had people tell me about a local influencer who is a mom, like the ideal customer. So I just befriended her and just followed and just Instagram messaged her, a few others, and I have that I've followed for a while. It's been really helpful to just be honest and tell the influencers I have no budget and I see what they can offer me. Yeah, again, honesty is the best way to go about it. And there are influencers that are like, you know what? You're new, I'll help you out. I like your story. I like the dress. Like, this is great. And sometimes people will post something of yours. They'll just repost it. You've never even talked to them. You don't know them, but they see your dress and they repost it. What is the best step to expand a business as I complete grad school in 1 year? So I would say right now, doing the prep work, the three most important things to do before you ever go into designing and making samples is determining your budget, the costing of your product, and your timeline. So get those three things in order before you ever launch, because those are the three reasons that I see businesses not succeed. Either they've had a timeline that isn't realistic, so they're not able to meet deadlines of when they have a trade show or a fashion show, or they're trying to launch a spring collection, but then the spring collection isn't done until fall. So spending some time in timeline and then budget, because if you run out of money, you can't go forward. So you want to hire a professional or work with a designer that's already launched, that's very accustomed with budget, and that can help you make those numbers accurately. And being honest with your budget. Like, if you come to me and you tell me, okay, I've got $20,000 to spend, what's my budget? But you actually only have $5,000, you're going to run out before you have time to take that photo shoot or to produce the production. So just being really honest with your budget, and whatever that budget is, if you've got $5,000, if you have $1 million, you want to plan it all the way out. So timeline and then costing. So if you say, I want to launch and make dresses and I want them to be $200, yet you are using silk that costs $60 a yard, and you make it a huge A-line skirt, and then you come to find out that you've used $200 of fabric for this $200 garment you wanted to retail, you're not going to make money. So you want to know your costing, your budget, and your timeline. So spending time on that before you launch. It's been really helpful to just be honest. Okay, I got that one. How to expand a business and complete after grad school. I got that one. So does anyone else have any other questions for today's seminar? We've got a longer list. Let me just go back. We give you guys a little bit of a lunch break because, you know, we all need lunch. But so Allison is talking about 3D technology at 1 o'clock, which I'm super excited about. She's on the forefront of customizing and fittings and having your website use these virtual forms. And I feel like, especially with everything that's going on, the industry is moving to have everything done virtually. So if that means that I can go into like a virtual showroom and try on a garment, see how it's going to look on my body in a, all the, full, then I don't have to go to the store to shop. And especially with, we're not able to go to stores to shop right now, I think there's going to be a big push in that. So that'll be great. That's at 1 o'clock. And then at 2:15, Jay Abertman and I will be discussing fabrics. 3:30, there's going to be the panel. And then at 4:30, we're going over costing. So does anyone have any final questions before we pop off? Going once, going twice. All right, so you guys are so welcome.